welcome back to another video where today I think I disabled my webcam. Let me just check quickly. Alright, so my webcam was blocking this side, this portion, like where my cursor's pointing. So, basically, if we go into the symbol, because in the last part I didn't explain what was going on, but if we did go to the last part, see that I had to select radial gradient from here, then adjust it. It'll remember your last thing if you still open the project. Oh yeah, and if your project's not saved, it will have a star over here. And a convenient feature of Flash is that you can open multiple projects. So this is your symbols. You could go into your symbols. I'm right now in Laser. You could go visit your scenes, or I opened a scene tab, which allows you to add, delete, or rename scenes, which is pretty convenient. I have all kinds of tabs over here. So you have to go to here and then select radial gradient. And then you come up with this. But what's this? If we click on this and then drag the black more, you'll see that the black almost goes away. If we drag it a little bit over here, the blue almost barely shows up. This adjusts the amount of gradient. So the black is over here and we have an equal portion. So if we drag this over here, blue will basically take up. So we want it at normal speed, but this is conveniently helpful for, this is really helpful for adjusting the amount of things without using the gradient transform tool, which can be found by clicking over here, left clicking and clicking gradient transform tool, or on the right there's keyboard shortcuts like F. So we saw the laser, and now we're going to do some now we're going to add the bump, like the kick, and then land, and the smooth bounce, or the squash and stretch. But first, you should go check out the 12 principles of animation. The first principle is called squash and stretch. So that's what we're going to be using when the stick figure lands. That's what we're going to be this is what the stick figure is going to be using when it lands after kicking. So we basically need to click this frame and drag it when we want this to end, and then drag these frames. We could just click the arrow keys. Another helpful feature is shift, which moves it a bit further. There's also this thing on the top. There's some menus. Hold on. These are the menus you'll get. You'll get view, snapping, snap a line. But I actually personally had problems with that. It's checked by default. So that's, but it basically snaps it and aligns it based on grids. But I had problems with that. So, yeah, that's not gonna happen. But feel free to add adjustments before going on to this step. For example, we can make this ones. Or we could actually make this ease in and ease out. It's only ease out. So let's go like this. So we added those adjustments. See if it's correct by playing it. There's also a useful keyboard shortcut, Control Enter. But you could also preview it by here. It's a little bit slow. So we can make an adjustment by smoothing his head around. Oh yeah, I actually exited Flash. I have to turn on object drawing. Remember to turn on object drawing always. So basically trace his head. That's the closest I can get. You could also fill in the stuff manually instead of using it. Okay, so we made those adjustments. Now, all we need to do is add more extremes. So, you could also delete it if it's not right or something. It's just straight in my line. So, add another breakdown. Control Shift, click the head, delete the rest. You know that? By the way, I did not steal this technique, so if you watched Alan Becker's tutorials, which I'm really a fan of, this is his technique. I just want to like just explain this. Well, I'll ignore that for now. But just this is not my technique. This is just the easiest thing I could find. All right. So this is the kick. Let's. So hold on a sec. Okay. So we got them stuff. Make sure to turn onion skin on also so that you can predict the previous pose. And now this is another key pose. So now we're ready to add breakdowns. You don't need to do adjustments yet, but if you like to, you can do it. This is just a hierarchy. So this is one of my breakdowns. We could add adjustments like manipulating after breakdowns. But when doing breakdowns, don't be afraid to just do this. You could also do a whole body arc like those arcs that I explained in the last video with my project file. Those opacity marks, just draw in a pose and then fill in the body with a triangle, like for example. Uh, Click the polystar tool. The tools for the each tool over here is going to be over here. So polystar tool. Scroll to the down, tool settings, click options. Click 3. And now you got a triangle. All you need to do is break it apart. You don't need to though, but I think you need to so that you could kind of manipulate these points. But click on it, click linear gradient, click one point to black, but set the opacity to 0. Click F so that you could rotate it. This gradient transform tool has a lot of possibilities. And the reason why you can manipulate it is so that you could do this. You could also manipulate it like all the way so that it's fully shining like that. You could also use this for a light coming out of the sky. But we're not going to focus on that. We're going to focus on these simple stuff. Just the technique I use. And yeah, you're not necessary to fill all the gaps right now. Just enclose them. Because since you're an object drawing, make sure you enclose them. Otherwise, when you draw like this, it cannot be filled. Or otherwise, when you draw like this, it cannot be filled. And especially since you're not seeing. So if we draw like this, so and we try to fill it, nothing happens since it's like this. But all you gotta do to fix that is draw another shape, click the shape, click the thing, or click your arc, click over here, create object, and it will merge into one. But try your best to remember to fill these gaps. Now we're going to fill in these gaps. Now let's add another pose. I don't mean to do. If you click F7, then it will transform into a blank keyframe, which has nothing on it on that layer. Don't worry, your work is not all lost. Your entire project isn't lost if you click F7. Only the items on that layer will be lost. So, you know the technique, maybe? We'll not do an arc for this one, though. So in this case, we want to swap the arms. So you want to make it as realistic as possible. So time for manipulating. To make it more sense, I'm going to, like, you know what sense means? So just so you know, when you click at these outer boxes and then drag, you could skew what's called skew the object. And this is extremely helpful for doing 3D boxes. For example, draw a square, draw a square. Let's put it on a new layer actually, so that we don't interfere with the current one. Hide this one. So what we're going to do is click. So we're going to copy it 3 times, but you don't need to click Control C and then Control V 3 times. Click Control Alt and then drag it. Shortcut. Everyone loves shortcuts. Okay, that was a little bit too much. But we're going to skew one, make it a little bit smaller. Skew one, you could also clone that one if you want to. You could start off with 2 squares, join them together, and rotate this thing. This is how I find it. And I click Control in this one, and then skew it apart. Skew it, and then resize it. This is how you make a cube. Ta-da! But the feature that I was using before, also Control Shift V pasted it in the same place. There's also, like, you could do with drawings, like break apart drawings or object drawings, but not symbols. You could click on one corners, and you could warp them. Really useful. But enough about that. Let's move on to adjusting this thing. So, um, on to adjusting this thing. We'll click Control and then move this around. Sometimes this might not work. So in that case, you could skew, deselect the head. While doing that, the symbols won't select. Click Alt, drag it so that it drags from the corner. You're kind of snapping it, so that's why I hate that feature. You could also just change nothing. You could also go here and reset the thing, reset all the changes so that you could actually act as like real. I have a thing for this transition. So F5 2 times, F5 two times again. This time, deselect the head and rotate this. Move the head to where your location. Rotate this. This is sometimes a smooth action. So now, we're going to add in more in-betweens. This is just my hierarchy. You can also add little foots. Still, we're not going to do this, actually. This is when the part gets cool. You know what I mean? Now we're going to do this thing. We're now going to use this. And now add these stuff. Add another breakdown. Extend it. Squeeze it. You must know the principle in squash and stretch. Now, we're going to just minimize a little bit, minimize a little bit. So now this is, let's see, do it this shape so that we can confirm. Yes, now Control A. So now we have that thing. Now we're going to add these in-betweens for this pose. For best results, make it fast. For example, remove all of these stuff. Also click Control to select individual frames. This might be a little hard actually. But then, once you're done, click Shift F5. But an error happens. Yeah, you should not do that. Shift F5. Shift F5. I clicked F5, but you can also simply drag these frames over here. So now that is our stick figure animation. So we done a great job, didn't we? This part was a lot shorter than the last one, but save it. Also, if you could control Shift F12, you'll get a list of options. When I click Control Enter, it published to the file location of our FLA file. You might notice, why is there a Chrome file there? Well, I don't want that there. Me too. I don't want that there too. So, click Control Shift F12 or simply go to File, Publish Settings. Here you have a list of options. As I told you, you'll get a profile. You could set a profile. Like you could set maybe an animation profile or a game profile. Your script, Action Script 3.0. Your target, Flash Player 10, or Air for Android, Air for iOS, for desktop, whatever. Your publish settings, SWC or SWF. You want to mainly keep this checked if you want to publish it to a main format. But other formats, HTML wrapper is selected by default, which means it'll preview also your animation in a browser, and it won't if you don't have Flash Player installed. It will simply say install Flash Player. But if you don't want the HTML wrapper in the first place, just simply uncheck it. And there's also GIF image, JPEG image, PNG image, OM image, SVG image. This is basically image stuff. SWF archive, whatever. Mac projector, Win projector. GIF image doesn't have much in Flash CS6 because in Flash CS6 there was a lot of options, including transparency. So I like that. But I actually watched a tutorial. This doesn't have any more options to customize the transparency. The only way is Photoshop. If you want to export your uh, GIF that has any background, within Flash, you can do that between Flash CC and up. That includes Animate CC and Flash CC. But in Flash CS6, there was no problem. So, um, you can either use Photoshop if your animation isn't too long. But when I was exporting my intro, I wanted it to be transparent background so that I could fit a video clip inside there. But I couldn't since Photoshop always fails to render that. So I won't be using Photoshop to do that. So that's off topic. So let's see Flash SWF options. Output name. This is your output name. Just beam, and you can also choose your publish destination. By default, it will publish to where your .fla is saved, which is the common Flash format that is described over here. Your JPEG quality, which means the quality of images, we'll set that to 100 if you have images, for example, the desktop image in animated versus animation. Enable JPEG deblocking. I don't know what that is. Well, JPEG deblocking to reduce artifacts with low quality settings. I don't know what that is, but these are crucial if you want best studio sound. So audio stream and audio event. So basically what this is that it depends if your audio is stream or audio is event. Talk about more on that in the next tutorial. But so basically what you need to know that there's four types of audio and two are most commonly used. One is stream and one is event. So if you want a different quality for event, you could set the event to the highest quality or the lowest quality. It's set by default. It's set to a very low quality, so it will appear like some kind of flash beginner is using this. Learning this is crucial if you want better sound. So what we're gonna do, audio stream. I'll talk more. These two formats I'll talk in depth later. All you need to know about here is that there's two separate formats. So you could set one to one value, so that you could leave another one and another value. So if you're using both stream and event in your project, and if you want a low quality audio one time in your project, then you could set the audio event to a low quality. Then you could set audio stream to a high quality if you want high quality some places and audio event some low quality some places. Can't even explain now, but I'll talk that in depth in the next video. Override sound settings. Override sound. But if you want to make the sound settings the best quality, uh, what I use is raw. Click compression raw. Uncheck convert stereo to mono so that in the preview, in one time when the black falls, when blue stick figure falls, when the blue stick figure first gets created. First, see my animated versus animation video for that. But when the blue stick figure falls down to the desktop and black helps him, um, the blue stick figure falling down is on the right speaker, and black steps were on the left speaker, which was pretty cool. So you want to uncheck convert stereo to mono. If you don't know what that is, mono is basically converting is left speaker and right speaker to both. Stereo is using both speakers whenever needed. Also, you could in audio there's going to be a left channel and a right channel, making left speaker and right speaker internally. So if you want a car sound, you can make it fade from the left speaker to the right speaker so that you'll feel like this thing is coming from your left to your right. It opens up a whole new game of possibilities. There's also and also it's best if you use speakers on a desktop computer for the best loud experience. Just don't turn down the volume too loud. Your ears is going to explode and I'm not responsible for that. So sample rate. Right now it's set to 22 kilohertz. So I would use 44 kilohertz. So we'll do that for the audio event as well. Nothing's different. You could change it the same. I'll explain the rest even though I don't use them. Compress movie deflate. I don't know honestly what that is. Include hidden layers, which means that if you decheck this thing, every layers that you hidden in the animation while you are making it will be omitted from the final SWF file. Generate size report. I don't report size. I don't know. Maybe it'll report the size. Omit trace statements. Honestly, I don't know most of these. Permit debugging. Yeah, I don't know that too. But protect from import. This I definitely know. Check this so that you could prevent your SWF being imported into one file. You can enter a password. I don't know what this button. I'll close that. So password. You could also set into a variable password. This is my password. So the user has to input this password when they attempt to download this SWF and import it into one of their projects. So they have to enable this password. Enable detailed telemetry. I don't know what that is. I don't know why there's another password. Script time limit. I don't know what that is. Hardware acceleration. Hmm. To be honest, guys, I don't know what most of these are. I know what protect from import is. I know what including layers is. I know what these are. I know what these are. I just guessed them. These are professional. The other features are for professional people who want to create games with Flash. So you can either click publish from here or click help to go to the Adobe Wiki. Wiki! Wait, that's not a wiki, that's a help section. So yeah, guys, that's enough. That's the stick figure animation and exporting in a nutshell. But also what you want to do is I have a program called Swivel. It's in my taskbar. You might see the name tag right now. So you can click this thing. I downloaded from newgrounds.com. I don't publish to newgrounds.com, but I use this. So input SWFs. I'm not gonna add it, but movie duration, frame range. So start. You could either start it from a specific frame or manually start and stop recording. So you could either set to start and stop the recording. You render quality controls render quality of the stage. I usually set that to high. Bitmap smoothing force bitmap smoothing on all bitmaps. On video tab, I'll put video in the file name for the file name for the final video, whatever that is. The width and height of the final video on pixels. 1920 by 1080. That's the default thing. I usually stretch to fit that thing so that it's very, very, very high quality. And too high quality so that your eyes will explode. Yeah, that's not true. Transparent background, render the movie with an alpha channel. That is somehow useful. Why didn't I think of that before? But it may have a black background, so I don't know what to do. So, video codec, select video compression. So, video compression, you could set the video quality. You can set the video bitrate. I set it to the very high bitrate, lossless. Audio, you can set the audio source. So no audio for it to be completely silent. Extract from SWF so that you could directly take the audio from the SWF file, or external audio tracks so that you can import your own like audio track when you export the MP4 file. You could set the audio channel to mono or stereo. You can set the audio codec. I chose AAC. Set the audio bitrate. I set to very high. And you could enable a watermark. This is good if you want to claim your video as yours and doubt that someone will steal your video. I use this for my PPAP video. I put my watermark on the bottom of the screen. You could browse an image on your computer, then you could put it in stuff on the screen. It'll preview it right here. You could set the size of the watermark and the transparency. And it also says at the bottom, hey you, after you're done, why not share your movie on Newgrounds? Read free exposure. Unfortunately, I'm too young for that. Take that. Recording to do. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. See you next time in next tutorial. Bye bye guys. This has gone very long.